Excuse me. And can you feel the love tonight? I don't remember many of the words of that song. It just strikes me. There's a huge shock. I forgot something. Hey, Tyler and Gone and Perfecter Cell. Yeah. And Garrett, not just perfect, but perfect there. Hey, Morgan. You're able to make it in. Good. Fac is here and Gerardo. Roll Money, Fat Ass. I can identify with that screen name. Wolverine's in. Krusty Bomb, Andrew. Deadly Mutant. Lost Kid John, Jojo, Kage, my buddy Joe. Yeah, I want to talk about this today. We've been having conversations over at the Goosh regarding I mean, this is a conversation I enjoy having anyway, but it came up today regarding the I always forget his actual name. I keep referring to him as Frankenstein, the big bushy eyebrow dude that Ippo's fighting in Hajime no Ippo. And sometimes I think, I shouldn't say just in general people, all of us, I think sometimes we almost get so swept up into a good tragic backstory that it seems like we bend over backwards to accommodate the person with the tragic backstory, even at the expense of the person that's on the other side of the fence from them, their opponent, whatever the case may be, at the expense of other characters because they had something sad happen. Because it got me, a lot of people were defending, and again, I wish Kobashi, am I thinking the right name? But defending old Frankenstein's actions and cheating in the fight, stepping on Miata's foot to win the fight and everything, and then acting like a douche afterwards, kind of like I said, an Ivan Drago type, to where it's like, if he dies, that type of shit, because he had that tragic backstory. But the way I look at it is, and maybe it's because I was involved in that sport, now you had Miata, who's been working his whole life towards these goals, training like a madman, becoming as skilled as possible, wanting to win this rookie championship. And all that was taken from him because he was hit with something he couldn't have expected to see coming or defended against, because he thought they were playing within a certain set of rules. So it's like, to me, it seems like we lose sight of the fact that somebody else got screwed royally, and this guy's really a genuine dick because he had a tragic backstory. I'm curious what you guys think about stuff like that. Strongest anime character is Goku. Mashiba. Yes, that's what I meant. Fact, thank you. That's why I have to keep calling him Frankenstein. It's one of the you guys know that me with names. Certain names just won't stick. Mashiba is one of them. Yes, him. Thank you. Quite a few Rurouni Kenshin characters. And don't get me wrong, I love a good tragic backstory just like the next person. And I know I've done the same thing. I know I've ended up probably giving more leniency to a character than maybe they even deserve because of a tragic backstory. So I'm not raising myself above that. It was just something that struck me in this conversation. So I wanted to see what you guys thought. Let's see. Mr. Croissant says you should react to Bleach. Yes, I have. It was very good. Oh, I'm sorry, Joe. I saw you were talking. I didn't understand what you're saying, but you're talking to Wolverine. Koro Sensei's is pretty sad. Yeah. Koro Sensei's. That was a great series. I really like Koro Sensei. I gotta find out from my wife. My wife will not let me touch the washing machine or the dryer because she says I don't know how to do laundry. I beg to differ, but I acquiesce that to her. So I have a really cool Koro Sensei shirt, and I haven't seen it in months. I put it in the laundry and it never returned. Somebody abducted Koro Sensei. This would be bullshit. Well, I know they didn't kill him, because that's kind of hard. Gerardo says if you want tragic backstories, then just look at Demon Slayer. Like, seriously, every character, even the demons, has such an unhappy start, and you're going to see more and get conflicted with the demons. Yeah, and don't get me wrong. Again, I like a good tragic backstory. Do you guys ever find yourself feeling that you allow the tragic backstory to, again, give more leeway to a character than they probably deserve? Scars from FMA, yeah, good one, Morgan. Yeah, Scar was not a character in FMAB that, upon first knowing of him and meeting him, I expected to have any sympathy for. And then, of course, yes, when you find out exactly where he came from and what had happened, I had plenty of empathy for him. Philip says, who has the most tragic backstory in anime? Pretty much the entire main cast of Rainbow Nisha, the 7 from Compound. The 7 from Compound 2, Cell 6. Japan post-World War II, kind of hard not to have a hard... Ooh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, you're right, Philip. Just given
yeah.
that is the era it would be set in, yeah, I would think that those would be... And I would... Based in that type of reality, I would think would make the backstories all that much more difficult as well. You know, when something's based that thoroughly in reality, I think it just becomes even more hard hitting, the sad stories. Obito and Nagato, 2 good ones, Mr. Psych. Yep. Kaiser says, can we count Space Battleship Yamato? The whole Gamila's race invaded Earth because their planet was dying. I don't know that series at all, but that's a good one to bring up, Kaiser, just from what you explained, because then it's like, okay, so and again, I don't know the series. I'm just basing off what Kaiser just said here. So then as a viewer, where do your loyalties lie? Do you say, well, it's not the Earthlings' fault because your planet's dying, so fuck you guys? Or do you say, well, it's survival of the fittest, and you understand why they had to do it? You see what I mean? That's what makes it interesting to me with these sad backstories. Andrew says, pretty sure the author still wants you to hate Mashaba even after his backstory. However, the sisters there show he isn't evil. Right.
Oh,
You know what hurt him a little bit?
yeah.
Oh, Andrew, your stream boss. Hurt him a little bit on that front with me was, and not significantly, you're right. What he's doing for his sister is awesome. But just the episode I watched today, and just so you guys know for spoilers, this is what I saw today. So I'm not even to the end of the fight with Mashaba. So I should point that out because I know you guys are always good about not giving me spoilers. I'm right in the middle of it. But then today, I understand what he's done for her, but why is he so hardcore that he still treats her like a dick? Like today when she brought him his workout gear, because he had forgotten it at work, she hands him his workout gear, not even a thank you, a fuck you, or nothing, just and walk. And again, I understand that I do
Oh,
get the tragic backstory thing.
yeah.
However, let's be honest, most of us, hardly anybody escapes life without some sort of tragedy in their
Oh,
background. How you
yeah.
handle that and whether or not you allow it to dictate the type of person you're going to be, that becomes your personal responsibility.
Oh,
Dark Slicer says the most tragic
yeah.
backstory is the fact the only time I'm ahead of a trend is fucking sea shanties. Had some on my phone for years. You're a sea shanty trendsetter, lifer. That's good. I like that. Sakura most tragic. Once useless, always useless. Oh, Morgan. Morgan's gonna stir the Sakura pot today. Brooks' backstory was sad. Look for next comment. Wolverine says, yeah, Brooks was. Oh, yeah, floating around on that boat for 50 years with your dead crewmates. Really sad. That's one of the reasons I love that song so much. Once useless, always useless. Ouch. Oh, and Wolverine said the same thing. Having traveled with the corpses of your crew for 50 years. Very few moments in fiction top that. Yeah, I agree. I agree. And when you add to it that Brooke, the character, is such a great character, too. With the constant laugh and the continuous string of lame jokes about what he's lacking as a skeleton and stuff. Yeah, no, I agree on that one. And I knew Wolverine would say it too. Sakura is bae. Oh, Lix says, I love not getting notifications. This is what I mean, guys. That's why we know YouTube is full of shit. Nobody is here any more often than is Lix. I mean, Lix, Wolverine, we've got several of you guys, Chrome, Jack, pretty much in every day. But Lix is right up there with everybody else here every single day. Now, if she's not getting a notification on a live stream. Everything that YouTube said about how notifications go out is bullshit. It just is. They're just lying. Jester says, most kick your feels in the nuts has to be...
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Issei from High School DxD. I mean, his first girlfriend tried to kill him on his first date, then messed with his head when she was dead. True. And Gone, or the guy from Berserk. Need I say? Oh yeah.
Oh,
Oh Jesus Christ.
yeah.
And what about um oh shit. I'm thinking what. Well, no, we're talking backstory, so that wouldn't be. Yeah, that wouldn't be as. Yeah, that wouldn't be as poignant. But agree with you completely. Fucking Issei. That I'm glad you brought that up, Jester. I love DxD, High School DxD, and not just for the fan service. I mean, fan service is fantastic. Don't get me wrong, and I love that. But I love the storytelling in there.
Oh,
I adore the characters. And Jester just even bringing that up, making me flash back to that initial date Issei has. I remember, I knew I liked that series at that point when she just fucking killed him. It was like, and she was so sweet and gorgeous, and it's like, wow, this kid's living the life, man. He hooked up with a girl like this, and then all that happened. Yeah, and then like you say, then after she's dead, comes back and fucks with him some more. Yeah, that's pretty fucked up. Although I can never feel too bad for Issei though, Jester. He's fucking living the dream life. God damn that harem. Andrew says, it's the character development that is important to me. Look at Gaara and his backstory, which made him a killer, but after fighting Naruto changed. Good point. Gaara's a real interesting character as far as backstory. Yeah, that's a good point. And I think most of us, they did write Gaara well. I think we went on that journey with him. I think most of us didn't like him. You know, and then you see the backstory, and it's like, oh, okay, wow. That I remember, I have some of that imagery in my head where he's sitting on the roof on that patio, like out there, and you think back to that, and it's like, okay, that does suck. And then you see that him starting to overcome that tragedy, and you root for him even more. Yeah, he's a Violet Evergarden. Oh, Denakar, I love that show. Yes. Backstories in there as well. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Philip says, you got fathers dead in Manchuria, mothers selling themselves for food. Yikes. Entire families wiped out in Hiroshima. Father coming home from a Russian gulag, drunk and being sent to prison, beaten by a sadistic guard. Jeez. And I think too, Philip, like I say, I agree with you. When the tragedy is that rooted in our own realistic history, I think it makes it even more hard hitting. Yeah, I would agree. Without having seen that, I would agree that's brutal. Joe says, hey, Thick Daddy, the saddest backstory, in my opinion, is in Dressrosa. I'm just starting to get some of that backstory, Joe. Yeah, the whole thing, I'll tell you, Soldier Sama there, Rebecca's dad, ooh, I told you guys over at the Goosh, I'm already getting fearful feelings about how that's going to end up just punching the feels unmercifully. That's a great build up to a story. I can't wait to see where that goes. Garrett says, I happen to have super luck when it comes to getting notified by Susan. Just a shame I don't have the damn time to be here as often as I would like. FML. That's all right, Garrett. I appreciate you being in when you can. That's what I mean, though. You know, when somebody like Lix doesn't get a notification, it just tells you that YouTube's stance on how they send out notifications is bullshit. Lix, I love Lix's cynicism so much that I can't even tell you. Things like this. My favorite tragic anime backstory was when Yamcha was too autistic to get any pussy. Jesus Christ, Lix. And it's extra funny because it's true. Oh, jeez. Jester says, Alan Edward from Full Metal Alchemist with the father who's gone, or what they did with him. True, because I had thought, when you first learn of their father, and I had said it when I watched it, Hohenheim, I was all prepared to hate him to eternity, for walking out on his family and everything. Of course, by the end of the show, I was like, Hohenheim, you're a boss. And watching him die at his wife's gravesite and everything was like, yeah. So that's a good one too, because that backstory certainly changed my perspective. And Joe was saying to Philip,
Oh,
I've only seen clips of that Rainbow anime.
yeah.
It looks brutal. Yeah, I just think too, Joe, just what Philip's describing, again, with it based in reality, makes it so much more easily recognizable. Lud says, speaking of that, I honestly feel that setting a standard for how people deal with tragedies in their life is a bad thing. Different circumstances, personality, breaking points, etc., influence it, and so creating a standard for oneself on how you'll treat a person based on how they act afterwards without really taking into account their individuality just feels wrong to me. Well, I don't think anybody's talking about setting a standard. I don't think anybody's talking about setting a standard. What I'm saying is, regardless of what tragedy is in your background, how you are able to deal with it and relate to other people going forward is on you. I'm not saying you're wrong for any way you do it or you're right for any way you do it. The fact is, it just is what it is. So in other words, like the what I brought up with Hajime no Ippo, you can turn that around. You can say, okay, well, this his name's on my head, Mashaba. I always forget his name. You can say, oh man, I get where he's coming from, and with his background and the things that happen, winning is so important to him that I understand why he would cheat or he would have to step on somebody's foot just to do whatever it takes to win. And okay, if you understand that, that's fine. My perspective turns it around and says, just because this guy had bad shit happen to him, I'm not going to celebrate him making bad shit happen to other people in the respect that his opponent trained, worked his ass off his whole life, had this big goal that he wanted to achieve too, and his goal was taken away because of the actions of Mashaba doing something that he had no way to expect, because he's assuming he was going to fight under the same rules he was fighting under. But I'm not sure where anybody was trying to set any standard. I don't remember anybody saying anything about setting a standard. Oh, Wolverine says, check last post. Discord notified me just now.
Oh,
Okay, let's see
yeah.
what Wolverine said. I wouldn't want Gara as a Kage for no other reason than he's an insomniac due to Shukaku. Sleep deprivation affects your judgment. I'd easily accept him as an advisor. I didn't think about the whole.
Oh,
I never thought about the whole
yeah.
sleep deprivation thing. Let's see. Morgan says, next post. What do you think of some people shitting on Itachi for killing babies? In my opinion, Danzo gave him an ultimatum and they literally would have died anyway, possibly more brutally if Itachi didn't. Well, that's pretty much what you concluded with was pretty much what I was going to say to that, Morgan. Yeah. Does it suck? Yeah. But
Oh,
how much hate do you want to
yeah.
direct at someone who may have, let me see if there's a parallel here. Do we hate Scar in Full Metal Alchemist for killing Nina? I don't. I mean, what they were going to live, the two of them together, as an eventuality was horrific, and I think he did them a favor. So I think you're working on the same thing there. There was no good outcome for those kids. And Itachi did what he had to do and certainly didn't take any joy in it. So yeah, I would agree with you. You can say that he's evil for having killed, but
Oh,
it's an entirely, it's
yeah.
certainly not a black and white situation. U Assault says Goosh Goosh is the most tragic anime bear backstory. True, it's so true, and it will never be topped. U Assault, you are correct. Jester says Pee Wee Herman in the later years, people hate him because he got caught tugging it in a movie theater, and only Slim Shady can do his voice. Yeah, and you know what? I didn't. I thought it was funny, and Pee Wee Herman was certainly humiliated by it. but I didn't really get. I'm with you. I didn't really get. I didn't hate the guy for it. It's like, dude, you're never gonna live that down. But as far as I know, Pee Wee Herman wasn't victimizing anyone else. He was just pounding himself. So, I mean, is it the type of thing that you like to see going on in the theater? No. Does it mean he might have some issues? Yeah, definitely. But excuse me, is it something to hate him over? Not to me anyway. Did I just set myself up so that I covered my stance on that in case I get caught doing the same thing? Well, who goes to the theaters today, yanking anymore? Got better stuff at home. Garrett says, to be honest, I think most anime manga I've seen all have tragedy literally baked in as a core component. I can name a few that aren't like this, but even then, I mean, I don't have oh, Dragon Stream Boss now. I certainly don't have the litany of anime and certainly manga that under my belt that you guys have, but in what I've seen, yeah, I agree with that, Garrett. Yeah, there's, but and it's appreciated. I think we've come to expect some sort of tragedy involved, but then it just becomes a case of how well do you present it. You know, I agree with you. Dragon says, had Itachi not gone through with the massacre, he wouldn't have been able to guarantee Sasuke's protection. Yeah, it's one of those cases, Dragon, I'm with you guys. It's, people can hate on Itachi for killing kids, and that is what it is.
Yeah.
But if you take it into the larger scale, it's not like when we're talking about Ippo, and we're not talking about death there, we're just talking about a fight, of course. But Mashuba victimized Ippo, who wouldn't have otherwise faced a dire consequence, whereas Itachi victimized some kids who were going to face a much more sinister reality. So yeah, it's just like I think it was in what he had stated before, like Lude had pointed out, everything is an individual case, and that's what makes them interesting. I think sometimes a backstory can totally redeem someone depending on what the actions were. And then there are other times I'm like what we're talking about here, where it's like, oh, the backstory's sad. And I empathize with you for what you went through, but you're still a dick, you know? So I think it can run anywhere in that scale in between as well. Gerardo says, off topic, but you should watch this one video, Boys Ball Z by Josh Dub. It's so hilarious. Oh, is it? I don't have any room to put in more reaction vids though right at the moment, just because we're doing so many different series from so many different creators and stuff. I would love to get caught up so I can see all the things that are recommended to me. Jester says, the saddest story I'm always reading is the amount of money in my bank account. I think pretty much all of us here have some sort of tragic backstory along those lines, Jester. I know I do. Yeah, I know that feeling. Mr. Croissant says, or even Lady Tsunade from Naruto. Imagine losing a brother. Good point. Then after getting over that, she lost her lover. Then after that, she gets betrayed by Orochimaru and still shows gusto and becomes Hokage. Good one. I wouldn't have thought about her. That's a good one, Mr. Croissant. That's true. All true. And of course, and I think too, with the drinking problem, I think Tsunade really humanized a lot of what she had gone through. I mean, that's unfortunate but recognizable to a lot of us, that we've seen it with family members or maybe even, you know, us ourselves, that's what she had to go to try and cope. Yeah, that's a good one. I wouldn't have thought about Tsunade, but that's a really good one. Cheap Drum Scare says, Itachi for sure. His best friend dying, having to kill his whole clan to prevent a coup d'etat, and arranging his death at Sasuke's hand. Yeah. Itachi is a truly, truly tragic character. I love Itachi's character. Excuse me for, I mean, I won't go through it again, because for basically all the reasons you guys have laid out. He really, really was a great character. Well, where did he fit it? You guys helped me do that. You know, I won't remember. Where we were picking my favorite, you guys helped me pick my favorite character in Naruto. And unsurprisingly, it came out to be Hashirama. But Itachi was right up, wasn't he top 3, I believe? Dragon says, as far as tragic backstories go, I don't think anything can top Nina Alexander. Oof. Yeah. And like I was saying, and the interesting thing too for me, Dragon, with the whole Nina thing is just what I said about Scar. When he kills Nina,
yeah.
how can you hate him for it? He was doing her a favor. So everything, everything revolves around perspective and circumstance. Braden's says, the best part of my day is getting off work just in time for your streams. Thanks for keeping me sane, bro. Well, thank you. I appreciate that, Braden. That's very nice of you to say. I'm glad you're enjoying time with us. I love I got to do it more often. There's so many different things that'll come up that I want to chat about. I forget to have these anime chats, and I really love talking anime. I really do. Perhaps not technically an anime, but Uncle Iroh from Avatar. We don't split that hair here. I'm with you. When I talk anime, if somebody wants to consider Avatar an anime or not, makes no difference to me. I consider it in the wheelhouse of that type of story, and I enjoy it. So you don't have to make an excuse for that, Shelby. Uncle Iroh from Avatar. Uncle Iroh is a great character. Hey, Mr. Host of Stream Boss. Yeah, Uncle Iroh is one of my all-time favorite characters in anime, and if it makes people feel better, anime style storytelling. Mr. Host says, Gintoki from Gintama has an incredibly tragic backstory, and a primary reason why I love him so much is that he's able to be such a goofball despite that. A lot of characters in Gintama are like that. Yeah, I think there's something, because I don't want to say easiest thing, the most obvious path to take for any character when you have something tragic happen is to lash out somehow. Lash out at others, go inwards with your emotions, just not be the type of likable person you would prefer, I guess. So it really says something when you have a character that has those tragic backstories and says, you know what, that really sucked, but I'm going to put it in its proper place and move on and enjoy my life. That takes a lot of fortitude. It's a very admirable thing to be able to do. Garrett says, can't wait for next week. I've got a week vacation. Oh, good for you. And despite my hatred of binge watching reading, I've got a list of anime and manga. Even beyond that, I haven't had the chance to sit down and watch Game Grumps in a while. Good for you, Garrett. Oh, that's one of the things I can identify with.
Oh, yeah.
I've worked all my life at regular day jobs too, and that's one of the best is just what Garrett's outlining here, and I'm sure all you guys can concur. Like the week prior to when you're getting that vacation and stuff, the anticipation, I guess, is almost as good as the vacation itself, because the vacations are always too short. Giga says, OG Broly has the best backstory. Reason he ate Goku is because he cried a lot as a baby. That's it. It's true. You're right. I'm glad you brought that up, Gigas. That's underrated. Fucking kid wouldn't stop crying. I'm like, that's a good one. Dragon says, greatest anime, Cory in the House. Fight me. I'm not fighting you. No. I know very little about Cory in the House, but just a little bit of knowledge I have, it's like, that's next level anime storytelling. I'm not fighting you. Mr. Croissant says, but Nico Robin's story is pretty sad when you think of the context. Oh, yeah. Look what she's taken on ever since she was, 8? Not only was her homeland and everyone she knows destroyed, she was probably used in ways that we can't imagine by other pirates. Yeah. Yeah, since, like we said, since the age of, she was 8 when she first had a bounty placed on her, right? Nope, absolutely. Somebody else had brought him up, too. It's another good one in Perfect Animal. Guts from Berserk has the saddest pass to me. That Berserk is that type of series that, and tell me if I'm wrong, you guys, it's that type of series that you just talk about it. You just mention the title and you get like an uneasy feeling. No? That's what Berserk does for me. That was a great show. I'm sure what you mean, Joe. Thoughts on Arlong's BS? On Arlong's bullshit? I really enjoyed Horty's bullshit.
Oh,
well, you know how I feel about... Oh, Backstories. I'm sorry. BS is always bullshit. I'm sorry, Joe. Arlong's backstory? Really enjoy Horty's backstory. See, now
Oh,
Arlong
yeah.
went to the level for me. Just that's a good one to bring up, actually, Joe. I that what he did for me, and this is just for me as an individual, is so heinous. I don't give a fuck what happened to him in his backstory at that point. And I think we all have that trigger. And I think that's a lot too. Goes a long way into us determining how much credit we give somebody or how much allowance we allow them because of their backstory. But what Arlong did to those two little girls, taking out their quote unquote mother right in front of them, and for no other reason that he's just a jackwagon piece of shit. I don't care what happened to him in his backstory. I would want nothing but horror for him. That's all I could ever wish for Arlong. It is death, and before that, any type of ill will, destruction, violence headed towards him he can get. But Joe brings up a good point. And the reason I feel that way isn't because he can't have a compelling backstory. It's because of what he did took it to another level for me. And again, by bringing that up, I think that's a lot of why we react differently to some tragic backstories than others. It depends
Oh,
on what that character ended
yeah.
up doing. Joe says, Corey in the house.
Oh,
Poldo says, you sexy white
yeah.
chocolate boy. I don't know what camera you're watching this on, Leopoldo, but it's a good one. Or what? I'm sorry. I don't know what device you're watching it on. Dragon says, honestly, I still don't understand where the whole Corey in the house is and the anime joke came from. It's been around for a while. It's been around since I've been watching anime, Dragon. So what? A good 3 years or so now that I know of. So probably even prior to that, yeah, I couldn't tell you. Somebody here might know, but I have no idea where that whole
Oh,
joke meme thing comes from. But it's
yeah.
been around as long as I've been watching anime. Joe says, I was hoping you would read BS like that. That's terrible, Joe. I mean, and I titled the stream, we're only talking about backstories, but BS is always going to be bullshit to me. Yeah. um, Michael says, no matter how much I love Kenpachi, sometimes I wish he gets his ass kicked just to humble himself. Yeah, I could see that, Michael. I could see that. A little humility would never be a bad thing for Kenny. Yeah, no, I get that. I think there's other characters like that too. That's another good point. I think there are characters that you like, you root for, and then even though you like them, you root for them. There are moments where it's like, yeah, you're kind of a dick. Yeah, no, I get that. Chrome says, tragic backstories. Let's bring up a new anime. Redo of Healer's backstory is the main character is made a drug addict by the heroes and is raped and tortured by them and used as a healing sponge. Jesus Christ. That's a lot of tragedy in a backstory, Chrome. God damn. Oink says, Spaz Kid has the most tragic backstory because he's related to you. that that's his saving grace. When Julia was Icewaves says when Julia was
Oh,
killed in the end of Cowboy Bebop,
yeah.
when Spike spent so long looking for her was pretty sad. That was entirely sad. But for me, Bebop, and again, it's just the way characters hit you. The hardest one, oh man, it
Oh,
actually chokes you up a little even just
yeah.
thinking about it. Was Radical Ed when she left the Bebop. God damn, that makes me want to just go back and watch it again and be all like, that. She is such a great character, Radical Ed. Philip says, now that I think of it, Goblin Slayer had a pretty rough one. It's kind of banal given the commonality of it in his world, but the fact he's dedicated his life to slaying goblins as a result is sad. True, good point, Philip. Yeah, that that's very true. I wouldn't have thought about that one at all,
Oh,
but that's true.
yeah.
Boy, there is. You know what? Going into this conversation, I was thinking, man, when we start discussing tragic backstories, there's a lot of fuel to add to the flame, and even more than I would have thought about. You guys have brought up a lot of them that I hadn't even been thinking about recently. Yarbrough says Killua, even if they were crafting him, what the fuck? True, Killua, yeah, his saving grace was making friends with Gon. Good point. When you think about how Killua was brought up and what his future was going to be. Yeah, that's a good one. Digga says, if you have to forgive a villain among
Oh,
these, who would it be?
yeah.
Arlong? No, it won't be Arlong. Griffith, Shao Tucker, or Eisen? Ooh, that's tough, dude. Jesus Christ. You guys answer that too. I'll be interested to see what you guys have seen. So, if you're gonna have to forgive a villain, Arlong, Griffith, Shao Tucker, or Eisen? I'd hate to say it, but because of the times and the story surrounding everything, it would be Griffith. Yeah, it would be Griffith. Oof, that's a tough four right there. Dragon says the real tragic backstory is your brain after the kitchen sink. Yeah, no doubt, dude. No doubt about that, brother. My brain agrees with you. My brain's up there going, damn straight, Skippy. Let's see. Kaiser says Precia from Lyrical Nanoha. She used and abused her daughter, Fate, to bring back Alicia. Precia's daughter, who Fate was cloned from. Precia played a role in Alicia's death and felt guilty over it. Yikes. Yeah, that's twisted. Rad says that Eisen would be the one that he would be most forgiving of. Lud says Eisen cut off his hair. Mike says Eisen didn't even have a tragic backstory. He was literally just a guy with a big ego who wanted to be God. Big Green says, I don't know how to answer that except fuck Griffith. Yeah, to me, Big Green, though, that's a no-win situation. No matter who he is, that's why I think he actually came up with a good foursome, because no matter who you answer, it makes you sick to even think about being forgiving towards them. Bellamere is alive in our long sex dungeon, Wolverine says. Chrome says, I'd have to disagree on that one, Curtis. Griffith's rapist, I can't ever forget that. Yeah, but I mean,
Oh,
and I understand that,
yeah.
Chrome, but look at the other options. You know, it's rape, murder. I mean, that's why I say there's no answer to that isn't just absolutely distasteful. Tyler says 91 Days, probably one of, if not my favorite tragic anime I've seen. 91 Days? I don't know that one, Tyler. And I've said it before. Oh, Dragon Stream Boss now. I've said it before. I'll say it again. It amazes me how much anime is still out there that I not only haven't seen, but hadn't heard of before. That one I'd never heard of. Let's see. Lute says, I'll take a mind manipulator and potential killer over rapist. So yeah, Eisen. Yeah, that's what I mean. There's no answer in there that isn't distasteful. Morgan says Among Us Goose Stream when? I have no idea, Morgan. I have no idea. Among Us may be streamed over at the gaming channel anyway. All the gaming is going to move there. I may do another gaming stream or two here just to get the word out to more people so they know to go over there. But when it's going to be, I'm not sure. I'm planning on putting up more content to the gaming channel, not necessarily this week, but starting next week. I mean, there might be some this week as well, but I have it specifically on the planning board for next week.
Oh,
So there will be more
yeah.
videos over there and more streams over there, but I don't know exactly when it'll be Among Us again. Garrett says, here's a question. Which do you think is more impactful? The villain or hero
Oh,
having the tragic past?
yeah.
That's interesting. I prefer villains who are dicks because they simply enjoy themselves and not because they're sad. That's solid, don't you? Wouldn't you guys agree with that? I think it depends on this backstory a little, Garrett. But that's an interesting perspective I hadn't thought of. It is fun sometimes, and I've said this before, when a villain is just a villain. He or she is just a piece of shit, and that's it. And there's nothing more to making them a piece of shit other than that's who they are and they embody it. And you can almost respect that as a villain. So yeah, I think but I think either could be more impactful depending on how the story is told. But I get what you're saying. It is nice sometimes to just see a villain that's just a dick. Period. That's it. Why does he do these horrible things? Because he's a fucking asshole. That's why. And there's no more to it than that. Andrew says, how would you feel if an enemy became evil because of a tragic accident and society turned their back, ignored him, expecting someone else to save them? All right, let me make sure I read that.
Oh,
how would you feel if an enemy,
yeah.
okay, so if an enemy to me or in a story became evil because of a tragic accident and society turned their back, ignored him, expecting someone else to save them? I think that falls in the category of what I outlined earlier, Andrew. You could have empathy for him, and I very well may have empathy for him. It's just like with the fighter we're talking about in Hajime no Ippo. I never mentioned this. Don't get me wrong. I don't hate him. I'm just not rooting for him. I don't want to see him get his ass beat by Ippo because of the actions he's taken despite his tragic background. But he's not a character that falls in even close to the category of hating. So with who you're talking about here, I could feel some empathy for him. But again, he's victimizing others, and they didn't deserve to be victimized because of his backstory. So no, I'm not going to. It's not going to be like, well, his body count's acceptable because of what happened. I guess. Hopefully that answered your question. Parsa says the main character from Dororo. His dad sacrificed him to demons in order to fertilize the land. He had no hands, no arms, no eyes, no skin, couldn't hear, and couldn't talk much. It was like, Jesus Christ. Yikes. Shelby says, I like fun villains, but the complicated villains tend to have really cool storylines and bring up philosophical questions. Exactly. That's well described, Shelby, because that's what I was trying to say. I think who is more effective with a great tragic backstory, a hero or a villain, depends on the storytelling itself. I think you can make a case for either in individual cases. Lud says, I really feel that tragic backstories are highly overused, and can't argue with you there. I get attached to a character through present actions. Robin's backstory did nothing for me, but yelling I want to live shot my heart in the dick. I want to live. Yeah, I'm with you. I took that same bullet to the dick on that one, Lud. Yeah. I think there are some times that a tragic backstory is presented and you feel a little bit like that was just kind of thrown in there to try and gain some empathy, where I think that's rare just because I like anime storytelling to me has been so good. Typically the backstories really work and seem to be a real legitimate part of the character. But yeah, Lud, I don't disagree with you there. I think to say that they are overused is not incorrect. Chrome says one of the only tragic backstories in One Piece I cared about was Brooks. Yeah, that whole 50 years on a ship. It's so easy to imagine, and the loneliness, and yeah, it felt different than everyone else's and new. I felt like the stuff they added to Luffy's was forced and made him more generic. Yeah, I'm not sure about that with Luffy. I mean, just for me, how it made me feel. I don't know that I felt that, but I do agree with you on part A. There's just something so insanely sad about floating on the water for 50 years with no one to talk to, and the only ones around you are the corpses of your friends and crewmates. That's just unimaginable. And then to come out of it with the attitude that Brooke currently has is amazing as well. Rick says Yu-Gi-Oh! GX's protagonist was friends with Demon, which killed people who upset him, so his neglectful parents gave him electroshock therapy and had the demon launched into space. It's a stupid show. Lix, you're on point today. Lix is really making me laugh today. Just we get that good explanation and then just tying it all up with it's a stupid show was great. Dragon says, is it wrong to consider American politics as a tragic backstory? Unfortunately, Dragon, No, it's not even a little wrong, and to consider as anything else would probably be inaccurate. So, is it wrong to consider American politics a tragic backstory? No. Is it sad? Yes. Oh. Oh, Jack. Sure, it's terrible. All his dead friends around him. But at the same time, you won't go hungry? Oh, you guys are so twisted. It's fun. Lude says Brooks' backstory is more hard hitting when you think about it after the fact. Brooks' general attitude sort of softens it when you're watching. Yeah, I agree with that too, Lude. Yeah. So, I mean, Brooks, that was one that I agree with you guys completely, and I wouldn't have thought to bring it up today. And Brooks is just, that's what really was the initial impact of that song, too. That is such a sad song because that's what you envision when you're hearing it. That's one of the most fun things I've done on the channel or at the Goosh is when we created the music video with everybody involved to Brooks' song. Big Green says, I'd rather get tased in the dick than watch Yu-Gi-Oh! GX again. Wow, you guys, that's got to be a beaut. That's got to be a real beaut. Willie says, I'm in class right now. Got to learn a language I already speak. Fucking pyramid scheme. I like that, Willie. The education system is a pyramid scheme. Unfortunately, a little close to actual reality, but... Kaiser says, oh, I'm not going to pronounce this name right. Suginto from Rosen Maiden. At first I thought sadist, cruel girl. Once found out she is an incomplete doll who just wanted the love of her creator. Plus her brutal, sad death, she became a faith. Wow, that just the way you put that, though. An incomplete doll who just wanted the love of her creator. That's a pretty cool element for a character, isn't it? That's kind of hard hitting just to read. That's pretty cool. That's pretty unique. Trashman says, I've started reading Steel Ball Run after finishing the other 6 parts. I ain't no dirty part skipper. And got to Johnny's chapter. Johnny definitely has a saddest backstory. Really? Steel Ball Run. Another title I hadn't heard of before. That's cool. Wow. Oink says, not really relevant to the topic at hand, but I was supposed to do my homework 6 hours ago, and I am happy to announce that I have yet to start. Oh, yeah, Oink, I mean, we got to go back a lot of years for me to get there, but yes, I remember those days distinctly. Typically for me, homework got done in a panic, in a frenzy on the bus ride to school. Because my bus ride to school, I went to 2 different schools primarily. Both of them were at least 20, 25 minutes, so that's when homework got done. Chrome says, let me explain. Luffy's simple backstory being inspired by Shanks' actions was perfect. After the war arc, they added tragedy, and now he just has another bad childhood like every other One Piece character. Yeah, I get what you're saying, Chrome. And like I say, it didn't strike me that way, but that's a legitimate... That's a legitimate complaint or a legitimate observation. Absolutely. Digas, incomplete doll. Sasori, is that you? I didn't even think about that. You're right. 100%. Little Sasori. Yeah, that's right. I hadn't thought about him.
Yeah.
Yep, that fits that definition. Yep, good call. Hey, careful of any JoJo spoilers. Chrome says he'll probably see part 7 when it's animated. Oh, yeah, I will. Yeah, so thank you for that, Chrome. I didn't see them, fortunately, whatever it was. But yeah, I definitely will see more JoJo. Yeah, what was he trending for? Mo911 says your boy Vegeta's trending. I was just, had a frazzled morning trying to get everything done. I had a lot to do today. So I just, while the video was rendering, I was just clicking around social media, and I saw Vegeta trending, and I never clicked on the trend. What? It's got to have something to do with... Oh no, I don't know what it would have to do with, to be honest with you. Shelby Wright says the ultimate panic is when you didn't even finish the homework on the bus, so you scramble to finish it while the teacher is doing their intro speech. Yeah, tons of times done it in homeroom, Shelby. Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, because I don't know if everybody's school is structured the same, but our high school, you went into homeroom. That wasn't a class. That was just where you started your day. And you had a few minutes in there before the bell rang, start classes, and yeah, oh, scribbling through homework all the time in homeroom. Tyler says Chrome from Katekyo Hitman Reborn is very tragic. Look at all the. Again, there's just no possible way I'm going to live long enough to get to see all the anime that I want to see. This is why I'm so lucky I got into this, and I mean this sincerely, through you guys' recommendations and with you guys along with me, because I feel confident that in my lifetime now I'm going to get to see the anime that would have been all of the ones I would have most wanted to see, if that makes sense. Because you guys know me so well, and as a group we all tend to have very similar tastes. That's why I'm getting to only see anime that just wow me, because you guys know what to recommend. I'm very fortunate in that. Crescentbound says, Vegeta trending, is that the whole roasting Franklin meme now? Yee yee ass haircut. Chrome says, every series has tragic backstories. Skip Beat's main character had an abusive boyfriend that used her as a maid and is the reason she never went to high school, and a mother who tossed her away as a kid. Yikes. Damn. Diga says, he's trending because he's about to learn a new power from Beerus to match Ultra Instinct Goku. Really? That's, though, the whole Vegeta Goku rivalry has got to be one of the great relationships in all of anime. Probably goes without saying, but it's just so fascinating to think about, and particularly where they both started. Vegeta's character arc is something I love anyway, but that whole dynamic of the competition between the two of them, how many years in storytelling has that been going on now? And shows no sign of ebbing whatsoever. That's great. I don't really consider this a spoiler alert, because it's talking about a general plot point. I don't mind that. If it was more of a case of getting into specifics as to what Vegeta can do now and stuff, that kind of stuff never really bothered me too much. I just don't like specifics. Cody says, off topic, but Master Chief Form Halo has a sad backstory as well. Stolen away from his parents by age 6, had to watch all his friends die from augmentations, and it hurts him because he is the leader. I didn't know any of that. Well, I'm not a big Halo fan. I didn't know any of that, Cody. Didn't know about that. Oh, excuse me, guys. I got to call my nose. Yeah, like I say, Lud, technically, is it a spoiler? Yeah. Is it one that I mind? No. Again, because it didn't go into specifics, and you guys know my memory. I might remember that general idea is coming, but that just kind of hypes me up for it. Even in reading it, it just kind of hyped me up to see Vegeta trying to get even with Goku again. But yes, no, you guys aren't wrong. That's, like I say, and I appreciate you guys looking out for me. But as long as it stays that general, I don't mind. Let's see. Neo says, while not a tragic backstory per se, I think the stuff that the MC goes through in the anime Charlotte hit me. Oh, in the anime Charlotte hit me particularly hard when I first watched it. Another one I don't know about, Neo. Jesus Christ, there's so many anime out there. Yikes. Oh, Dragon says, another tragic backstory, Oregon. At least it will be in a few years. Oh, that hurts. If you're an Oregonian. Like, stop hitting us with these harsh truths. She says, hell, he'll forget about it in an hour anyway. I might actually remember that was mentioned, because that kind of amps me up for it more. I like the idea of Vegeta. I love that dynamic. The whole Vegeta always trying to get even or one up Goku. Philip says, oh yeah, Immortal Sugimoto from Golden Kamui has a pretty tragic backstory. Ostracized in his village for his parents having TB, comes back home to his childhood sweetheart marrying his best friend. Yow. Yeah. And again, that's another time, Philip, where it's like, I think the tragedy hits a little extra hard because that's so identifiable in the real world, that type of stuff. Ooh, man. Blind Gamer says, I'm new here. Well, good to have you, my friend. Glad you stopped in. Let's see. Oh, old Odd Gone says, this is all interesting. Yeah, but did you know that Jeremiah was a bullfrog? Yeah, I did. He was a good friend of mine. I never really understood a single word he said, but I helped him drink his wine, even though I'm not a wine drinker. Never let it be said that I don't go for the easy, obvious joke. I don't want anyone to ever think otherwise. Chrome says, how has no one brought up Sarah's from
Oh,
Helsing's backstory? Her mother murdered and raped in
yeah.
front of her and then shot in the chest. Oh, good one, Chrome. Yeah, and that's really on me too. My all-time number one waifu. Just reading the word Saris makes me feel tingly inside. Kaiser says, here's a question. Have you ever had a series that had both a character you hate that you eventually loved and also a character you loved that you eventually hated in the same series? Probably, Kaiser, but I'd have to really think that through. Because you could even go in FMAB. I think you could say I hated Hohenheim at first because of what he had done leaving his kids. And then I eventually loved him. Now, is there another one that goes the other way? Is there somebody I loved then hated? I don't know. Within the same series, I don't know, Kaiser. You know who I think of too with that is on a whole different level and not as certainly not as dramatic a hatred. But oh shit, his name's gone in my head. Sticky Balls from um mm-hmm. Oh geez, everything's gone today. Um oh come on. Think of what you're trying to say. Sticky Balls from UA. When he first came on the scene, he was like my favorite character. I thought he was funny, quirky, cool little pervo, and I can't stand that fucking kid. I just really don't like him. Bradley? Um Nah, I don't think so, Shelby. I don't know. Yeah, I'm trying to think it through, John. Yeah. Minetta, thank you, Moneymore. My hero. Yes, My Hero Academia, Minetta. I Minetta was my early favorite. And he just went from that to I don't like that fucking kid. I just he just, and again, it's just the way he strikes me. It's just a personal preference thing. I don't mean to. I'm not disparaging anybody who likes the character of Minetta, but at first I thought he's going to be the funny little goofy, kind of pervy kid. It just hey, I just found puberty recently. I want to look at movies, and he crossed over for me as the series went on into somebody that's like, oh, there's no doubt in my mind that he's going to be a sex offender someday. It just wasn't cute anymore, and I've gotten to where I just really don't like him. uh, Otherwise known as the only good MHA character. Well, thanks, Lex. Yeah, we were talking about Gara earlier, and then yeah, that is a classic tale of character development that comes from a point of tragedy. Yeah, absolutely. Ultimate tragic character Envy, Red Moon says. Yeah. Yeah, Envy was one that was a character I would have bet you all along through that series that I was never going to have any type of sympathy or empathy for, and I was wrong. Moneymore says Minetta is too damn funny. He's like Roshi, but more committed. I don't even know why it is, Moneymore. There's something about him that he just, and I love Roshi. It's exactly the same type of character. But for some reason with Minetta, it just strikes me as too creepy. It just it got less funny and more like, fuck you, dude. Bobby says every anime has to have a pervy scumbag. It's part of the aesthetic. Yeah, kinda. Yeah. Philip says part 2 to Sugimoto's backstory. His best friend later gets killed during the Russo-Japanese War, leaving the sweetheart a widow who's slowly going blind, doesn't recognize him because he reeks of death. Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's pretty dark. That's pretty tough. That's an interesting question, Chrome. That's a real interesting question. She says, "Oh, how about Endeavor? Your thoughts on him are
Oh,
starting to change from a wife and child
yeah.
beater to someone seeking redemption. Do you think you'll grow to like him more if he continues to grow?" When we were watching that, the last series, the last season that we watched together, I've thought about that. Um, it's clear that there's a redemptive story being told around Endeavor. He just started in the worst possible place for me. When you hit a woman, abuse a child, you've got so much to come back from. Can I see my feelings on him easing? Yes, I can see saying, okay, you got to allow for somebody to be able to grow somewhat. Could I ever foresee him being a favorite character to me? No, probably not with that baggage. I mean, you could say, okay, what if Endeavor goes out and saves all of humanity? Then doesn't just in a numbers game, doesn't that overwhelm what he did? And the answer would be yes, but is it always going to be nagging at me that he's kind of there's a part of him that's a little bit of a scumbag? Yeah, that would be true too. So I guess the short answer is I don't know. I don't know how far he can be redeemed for me. Thomas says Broly's backstory from the Super movie was pretty tragic. I still haven't gotten to see that, Thomas. I keep saying that. I finally sat down and watched the Konosuba movie. The Broly movie's got to be the next one I make time to make sure I do. Cody says, hopefully nobody has mentioned Escanor. Escanor has a curse or power I'm not going to tell you now. After he broke his brother's arm defending himself, his family and kingdom tried to kill him. Oh, cool. That's something to look forward to in the storytelling. I love Escanor's character. Jesus Christ, he's a badass. Next post because Susan's sensitive. Yeah, don't we know that, Morgan? You'll probably never watch Yu-Gi-Oh, but Kaiba's backstory is pretty shitty. Abusive adoptive parents, yikes. Oh, yeah, and then too, Morgan, I think that type of stuff gets right into what we were talking about with Philip. Then you're talking about
Oh,
not only tragedy, but
yeah.
really real world recognizable tragedy. And yeah, I believe that makes things extra distasteful. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, Morgan, and right as I'm going to pack it up, Morgan's stream boss. So Morgan will get to carry over to the next one. Yeah, I got to head out. I do have just coming. We're getting closer to the end of the month. I'm trying to make sure that all the G100 videos are caught up with over at the Goosh. And I've got a side project I'm working on here for the main channel. I'll talk to you guys more about that later. So the days are pretty busy right now, but I love popping in. This was fun. I got to remember to do more of the anime chats when we have these just sit and chat streams. Just so many memories get brought up, and then so many titles that I don't even recognize. I don't know. Being an anime nerd, that's just exciting to me, I guess. But guys, thank you very very much for that. Now, today's sticky stuff obviously has a tragic backstory. So, I want you to enjoy the sticky stuff like you always do, but I want you to understand this sticky stuff had a long way to go to come here today, because it has a really sad backstory. So get out your officially licensed sticky stuff fanny packs, because you're going to want to keep this. We all know when it's a great tragic backstory, we like to relive it here or there. So here comes some tragic backstory sticky stuff for everybody. Pampu, sticky stuff for you, sticky stuff for you, sticky stuff for you, sticky stuff for you, sticky stuff for you. I'm sorry, it's affecting me a little bit. The tragedy of it all, and sticky stuff for you, because we'll bang, okay? Flashly, like Buggy. And as always, most importantly, and it's never tragic, goosh, 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 goosh.